today we're going to be making Ojos de Dios. These are very fun to weave, addictive apparently. We've had some kids on a roll with these. But I'm going to show you some different patterns and how to make tassels. And these are traditionally come from Mexico as, and it stands for the eye, God's eye of God. And it's seen as a protection. So people would make these for their children and family members that they love to keep them safe. We're going to start out with some chopsticks, and the irony of that is not lost on me. We're also going to use yarn and scissors and a hot glue gun. You don't have to use a hot glue gun, but it does make it a little easier. And you don't have to use chopsticks. Any kind of sticks would do, but I'm just going to start out, and you don't have to do this, but just to make it easier, we're going to go ahead and eyeball it, find the middle spot on these intersections, and hot glue those together. I'm going to start out with a blue yarn, and you don't really have to do this, but if you just want to make it easy on yourself, you can go ahead and tie a knot and trim it down. And you're going to start out with the basic pattern. We're going to start out with a basic pattern. I'm going to start on the back, and I'm going to go let's see, I'll start this way because of how my string is going. I'm going to start out under, over, turn, under, over, turn, under, over, turn, under, over. And what you're doing is you're actually looking at the back, but as you keep doing this, you are going to see the pattern emerge on the front. And you just want to line your yarn up next to the one that has already passed. And you do want to keep it fairly taut, so not pulling it too tight, but if it's loosey-goosey, it will be just a little bit funky. So I decided that I think I actually like it better to not. It's easier when you hot glue it, but when you don't hot glue it, you can kind of adjust it if it's a little imperfect. But anyways, so I'm going to stop and leave a little bit of a tail. The longer tail you have, the easier it is to tie your knot. So what you're going to do is take your second yarn and your first yarn and hold them together. Wrap it around your two fingers, pull the fingers or the yarn off your fingers, and pull the knot through and pull it tight. And then you're going to go on with your pattern of under, over, and you're going to hope that your knot doesn't, which of course mine did. So you don't really want your knot to end up on the front, so if it's in a bad place, you can just untie it and move it a little bit. And then you're just gonna keep going, matching up different colors of yarn. You can carry on with the same pattern, or you can get adventurous and do something different. So I'm going to experiment with the opposite pattern. So I was going under, over, and now I'm going to go over, under, over, under. And when you do this, it kind of ends up a little bit behind the first one. So you kind of want to make this row a little thicker, if that makes sense. You want to kind of go for a longer time on this so that it has room to be seen. So now when I flip over, I can tell that seems like I've done enough for it to be noticed, but I'm going to go a little bit longer because when I start again and switch up my pattern, it will cover a little of that too. So I'm just going to go a few more rows on this side. Okay, so now I have finished with this yarn and I've tied another yarn on, and I'm going to do two sides, looking at the back, two sides will be under, over, and two will be over, under. So this is over, under, and then this one is going to be under, over, over, under, under, over, over, under, under, over, over, under, under, over. It's a little confusing, but you can start to see a pattern after you've done it a few times, and then it gets easier. When you come to the end, you're going to make a knot just by going around and then pulling through that loop that it makes. And you want to leave a pretty decent sized tail on that, and you can just hot glue this and make a loop for yourself. And then for the tassels, you're going to cut, you can use one color or you can use multiple colors. Cut about 5 strings that are the same width as your project. If it's a short project, you might need to make it longer just for ease of working with it. You're going to make a loop about at the middle. I'm going to loop over my finger and hold on to this bar, pull it back, and then pull it through the loop and pull it tight, and then just trim that to be equal, and then you're going to repeat that process on the other 2 sides. Okay, so I'm done with tying my tassels, and the side one kind of sticks out to the bottom one sticks out to the side, which is cute and fun. But if you want it to be super symmetrical, you can turn the knot on the side. I'm going to cut another long piece of string, longer than I need. I think I'm actually going to turn this upside down. So I'm going to lay that main string there on that and pull this back behind here and tie a knot. Okay, that works. You can also hot glue it. Probably a little easier just to hot glue that in the top. Here's the finished project. And then I have a couple other examples. Here's one with same color tassels. And here are some that the lower school kids have been experimenting with. So they started out with these, and they just stack them like this. So you can experiment with that as well with the larger sticks if you want. Enjoy!